Just wait till I've got a couple of bodies and I'll do the intro. So what is your preferred title? Is it Butcher, Manager, Master Butcher?
Just Butcher.
Just Butcher.
Aye.
That's not very showbiz, Kevin.
Anything you want. I'm no fussed.
Right, we've got a few on, so here we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Pirate King TV Wednesday Q&A. This week, I am very glad to have as my guest Kevin McMillan, the butcher from Donald's the Butchers in Uddingston. Let's get him on the screen so you can all see his handsome face. How you doing, Kevin?
Good, thanks, Peter. How are you?
Very well. I've got a bottle. Obviously, as usual, shows are sponsored by wine. So I've got a glass of wine and looking forward to a bit of a chat tonight about that mystical art of butchery. So what got you into butchery, Kevin?
My girlfriend, who's now my wife, her uncle was looking for an apprentice at the time, and I was kind of a wee bit fed up with the work I was doing. And I basically started in the shop about a week after they asked me if I wanted to do it, and that's 17 years later. I'm still there, so I think I've been winging it pretty well for the last few years.
Okay, well, just that's half the battle. You just wander about with a clipboard looking confident, you get away with murder, mate, or wander about with a cleaver looking confident, you get away with murder.
A pen in your hand. If you've got a pen in your hand, nobody asks you if you're doing anything. I've just gave my secret away now.
That's it. There'll be a big rush. Beginning of the month, everybody was after toilet paper and pasta. They'll all be after pens now. So I think we might be having an issue with the sound. Nope, apparently not. Okay, so you're working with Donald's down in Uddingston, Donald the Butcher down in Uddingston. Obviously, I've been a big fan. I've been telling everybody how good you are and all the Pirate King TV shows. I remember I've been bothered with Uddingston most of my life, and it's always been there was Donald's the Butchers, Green Shields, and was it Cairns the Butchers in Bothwell?
There was a few. We had one in Bothwell.
Aye.
There was at one point there was Cochrane's. I think it was Cairns.
I remember Bobby Cochrane.
We've got Bobby's grandson working for us now, which is great.
Excellent.
He's natural. Everything he does is it's as if he was born to do it. But there was another few in Uddingston as well, further down the street. There was Dewars, and then there was one further down. I can't remember the name of it, but at one point I think there was 5 butcher shops in Uddingston, and now there's only 2 remaining and none in Bothwell. So it's
a real shame, because I've got one of my personal high horses is buying butcher meat for the supermarket. I hate it, that fluorescent pink meat and the white fat and it's not right.
The oily covering in the packets.
Yeah, so I suppose that leads me on to my first question. I'll start asking some questions until we can get some in from our audience. We've got a few watching now. How, if you're out there and looking for some meat for the barbecue, and how do you tell what's good meat and what's bad meat?
Well, first of all, I would always use a local butcher, a reputable one, if you can, if there's one in your area, and basically everything that they would be doing. I'm speaking more for myself. Everything would always be of the highest quality, and if you're dealing with quality at all, and you know that your butcher's dealing with quality, there's not really anything bad that you can buy from them. Is when you start really looking at cheap, something that's cheap, or something that's just, it's the old saying, if something's too good to be true, it usually is. If you see a shiny sticker on sirloin steaks that are only £3 for a pack of 6, then you kind of need to question why. For that wee bit of quality, I would always be expecting to pay just that wee shade more. But aye, something that's, if you're looking at sirloins, ribeyes, fillets, something like that for the barbecue, you always want them to be aged. Again, we aim for about 45 days as a standard with our aging, which is kind of right on that sweet spot of you've got that strength and flavour from the meat, but you're well past the point of it being nice and tender. It's not even a question of how tender it's going to be. It really, after about 30 days, 35 days, then it comes down to the flavour that you're looking at. Aye.
So talking about days and flavour, you guys recently had a bit of a project. I've got some pictures here. Bear with me. So you can maybe, while I'm looking for the pictures, you can maybe tell us the background to how this came about, the dry aged and Ardbeg.
We've a couple of customers. We've done a few before. We started it the first year after we had renovated the shop for Christmas. We started aging some ribs of beef with Jack Daniels, with Tennessee Honey Jack Daniels. We've done a couple of Jim Beam Red Stag, the cherry one, just soaking it in the alcohol and then letting it dry age.
So how long do you soak it?
With a couple of customers, it gets soaked over the course of a week. We'll soak it maybe 4 or 5 times, and then we'll wrap it in cloth, and then we soak the cloth again. And as soon as the cloth's not dripping, then it will go into the window, which is our dry aging unit, is the front window of the shop. So we had a couple of customers. We've done something last year, I think it was, up to about 130 days, and we had a couple of customers who wanted to just push it that wee bit further. So they asked for something at 200 days, which was soaked in Ardbeg. At the same time I done this one, the picture that's on your screen just now, this one was soaked in Jack Daniels, which I put in for the same duration. And I just took that out last week to cut. A couple of folk had been asking about it, so took it out and cut them and sent them out to them. That particular piece, it's again, was barbecued by a friend and a customer in the shop, and he's travelled the world. He's always been into pipe bands and drumming. He's been all over the world, and he said that was in his top 3 steaks that he's ever had, which was, I was pretty chuffed with that, and I think he was as well. He's done a fair job.
It's a special bit of meat. Giggly. We do that a lot on this show. Could you also use your? Am I correct in saying you also use that for your dry cured bacon as well?
We do that for a restaurant. We've got some bacons in there for a restaurant, as a kind of substitute to a pancetta that they use in a lot of their pasta dishes. But the bacon that we use for it's a strong flavour. But after about between 7 and 10 days in the window, dry aging, just letting any moisture kind of absorb into the meat, the flavour's just beyond incredible in it. It's just such a strong, smoky, proper bacony flavour.
Okay. Right, so we've got the first question of the night from DA Baracus is a friend of mine, a keen beard wearer. Makes mine look like a bit of a chin inconvenience. It's
I'm
proper.
trying to join the club.
Yeah, you probably need the best part of a decade to catch DA. It's a proper monster. So he's looking at cooking steak. What's the best way to go there? A really hot dry pan or a hot pan with butter?
I always start my steaks. I'll leave them sitting out the fridge for maybe 10-15 minutes just to let that temperature come up in them. And I put a wee splash of olive oil on the steak, not in the pan, with some cracked black pepper. When the pan's roasted and hot and you can see smoke coming off the pan, usually it sets the smoke alarms off in my house. That's when people know I'm cooking because it goes off every night. But when the smoke's coming off the pan, I fire my steaks in then. My wife's quite a plain, not quite plain. She likes her different foods, but when it comes to her steak, she just likes the steak and that's it. But I wouldn't mind putting some butter in when it's almost there. Maybe some garlic and some rosemary into the pan as well. Yeah, no,
I'd agree with all that. I'm a big fan of season the meat, not the pan. So get your oil in there. If you've managed to get if you've got a cast iron pan, that's really good because it holds a lot more heat and it'll stay hotter for longer. Especially if you've got a nice big steak and you drop that in there. If you've got a thin aluminium pan, that'll draw all the heat out of your pan, and you won't get that Maillard reaction, which is that nice crust that we're looking for. So cast iron pan if you can. Going to be controversial here. I would keep away from olive oil because it's got a fairly low smoke point. I'd probably go for something a bit more neutral, rapeseed oil or avocado oil, because then you can get it, as you say, setting the fire alarm off. And right at the end, once you've done most of your cooking, nice big knob of butter, whole clove of garlic, some rosemary, and just baste your steak. Just get it into that crust. But again, if it's a good piece of meat, you don't want to be putting too many other flavours on it. You want to be tasting the meat. Okay, so thanks for that, DA. Next one up. Bit of a plug for the shop here. What is the crispy Bombay chicken you're doing just now?
It's a crumb coating. We've done it a couple of times. We've done it a few times before. It's very like we do an Indian mystery chicken kebab, which I'm sure you've had, Bob. Just that kind of mild Indian flavour, almost like an Indian curry flavour. But the Bombay chicken has got a breadcrumb through the mix, so when you roast it in the oven, you do get that crunch on the outside. And that's basically it's a nice easy dinner. 25 minutes in the oven, and you're laughing.
Smashing.
Full of flavour.
I saw on the Donald's website or the Facebook page today, you guys have started reintroducing some of your sort of not ready meals, but your sort of oven to plate stuff that you've been doing before the COVID nonsense kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
You want to sell some? Why you've got some people watching you?
Yeah, it's just that everybody will know. Every shop's the same. The last few weeks have just been beyond crazy. I couldn't even describe how it's been in the shop and trying to work in it and work through it. So we've literally had to cut out a massive section of the range that we do. So now that we're settling into a new way of working, we'd introduced the website at the same time to make it a wee bit easier for people to order. So now again, we can start introducing some of the things that people love. Some of our biggest sellers we had to stop doing, just because we couldn't get to them. We couldn't do them in any great volumes. So we've reintroduced the Bombay chicken that Bob had asked about there. The garlic and herb fillet tail kebabs, which are a massive seller. We also do our own doner meat and wee mini skewers. The Indian mystery kebabs that I mentioned, they'll be back. A Texan pork steak that we do, again, full of flavour, nice and easy, just under the grill. Along with some other things. A couple of controversial ones that people aren't so sure about. We do a sweet chilli and iron brew sausage, and also a buckfast and black pepper sausage, which will be available from tomorrow. So
We've got some friends up in Mark Hall. One of them's she's not much of a sausage lover, but if there's Buckfast going in it, then she might be. Next question is from Dave Webb. He is English, but he's lived up here long enough that we will answer his question. Apart from the loin, in your opinion, what's the best cut in a venison?
I can't see past a venison stew. So literally anything at all that's not a fancy looking cut like the loin, anything that you can throw into a stew for the venison is phenomenal for me. That's one of the things that my wife won't eat, so I don't get to have it very often. But the haunch is always popular. The only thing with that is it's that bit bigger of a joint, so it tends to be if you're having large groups for dinner or something. The loin's ideal if you want something roasted that's nice and rare in the middle. If it's only for a couple of you, maybe 3 or 4. But venison stews is the winner all the time for me.
We had a bit of a party up here 2 or 3 years ago, and Dave's got family down in the New Forest. I think that's why there is a New Forest, because we're all asked to move out of the Old Forest. But he came back up. He came back up with a full haunch, and we stuck it over the fire pit with applewood, and we basically sprayed it all day with port and apple juice and lots of butter, and we cooked it really slow. I mean, it was so far away from the heat, it was just warming it. But because there's not a lot of fat on venison, you've got to be careful with how you roast it. So you've got to keep it moist, Gregory, and you've got to keep spraying stuff on it and make sure that you add fat to it so it doesn't dry out.
Yeah.
But when we did cut into it later on at night, it was almost like the dry aging process. We kind of cut the first 2 or 3 mil off because that had what sealed in all the juices, and it was really nice. So yeah, a couple of good suggestions there, Dave. Either come up to mine and I'll roast a haunch, or get yourself some venison stew and cook it away. So let's see what else we've got here. So we spoke a lot about soaking things in whiskey, and what about gin as a soaking agent?
I think anything would work, really. I've been asked a couple of times about doing it in gin, and it's just something that I've never quite managed to get to.
I think I'm not a big gin fan, but I think if you used the more traditional gins, the ones where the aromatics are very like juniper, I think if you went to your game again, like venison or maybe some wood pigeon, you'd maybe take some of the juniper flavours out of that.
The one that was mentioned is it gin mar or gin mare? Which I might be wrong here, but is a kind of rosemary essence to that. Okay. Which that with some lamb, maybe a leg of lamb, soaked in that and dry aged maybe for 30-40 days would be pretty interesting. You might have just gave me my next idea.
Try to get a leg of lamb to last 30-40 days in my house is mental. From yeah, but no, that's a good call. We'll see if that's your next adventure. So but that's a good thing about you guys having the dry aging window in the shop. That if you've got a project like that, you can walk past it every couple of days and wave at it and look and slaver at the window.
Aye. It's the good thing, look, because we are an independent shop, we can basically do whatever. My wife is my boss, just in case you didn't know. So we've basically got free reign unless she tells me I'm not allowed to do it.
Oh well, I've got a similar arrangement, but I don't think there's anything in writing.
I've got a contract, unfortunately.
So got one from Tommy here, another keen beard wearer. He's talking about your preferred meat for mince for burgers.
That's something that you kind of touched on last week. I was watching your show last week, using the chuck using the brisket. The fat for the brisket's got almost a sweetness. Excuse me. It's got a sweetness to it, which is quite interesting in a burger when you're not adding too many other flavours. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for just a rustic burger with some salt and some pepper through it, that sweetness for the brisket fat just really it pops and brings everything else out. But it's not really something that I get too fancy with when we're doing burgers. We tend to use a lot of the flank, which is very, very similar to the brisket, just a wee bit further down the body. Again, you've got that good mixture of the fat and the red meat. Definitely something, you need something with fat in it. We get asked all the time, they're making burgers and they want no fat in it at all, and then they ask why it's dry, and that's the answer. There's no moisture in it other than the meat. When you cook that, it's just all going to dissipate and come out.
But that goes back to the first thing you were talking about, Kevin. It's all about the quality of the meat. Now, the brisket, the flank that you get for your local butcher is going to have some flavour in that fat. It's going to be a better quality of meat. When you go to the supermarkets, I know I sound as if I'm constantly having a go at them. I don't have a butcher shop. I'm allowed to have a go at them. That meat has no legacy to it. It has no time on the animal, so there's no chance for flavours to develop in the fat or in the actual fibres of the meat. So if you get some mince for the supermarket, put some salt and pepper in it, make it into a hamburger, it'll be perfectly nice, but it's not going to have any of the depth of flavour that we have if you went and got the same cut of meat or a little bit of a mixture of meat that you can get from local butchers such as yourselves. And other local butchers are available. We'll be fair about it. So moving on to our next question from Mike. With good quality meat, is brining necessary, or is it just to bring lower quality meats up?
Brining in terms of adding kind of more flavour or change it. Brining would tend to kind of change the product.
So I don't know, maybe Mike will clarify on this. What I think he's meaning is when a lot of American style barbecue, if they're doing turkey or they're doing low and slow, they'll either inject the meat or they'll brine it to put a load of moisture in, because you're going to be cooking it for a long time, and obviously poultry can dry out fairly quickly. There's some cuisines out there that brine the meat to basically push flavour into it, but I'd use brining on any meat that I suppose meat that I had paid a lot of money for. If you're buying grade sort of dry aged full packer brisket to cook as a whole, then you don't buy that for Costco. You don't buy it for Asda or whatever. You go to a good butcher and you get it. But I think if you're not so sure on the history of that piece of meat, I'd certainly be looking to put extra flavour in it. And if the meat's good, then you don't really need to. I can see from a technical point of view, there are some types of meat out there, sort of anything, as we spoke about earlier, some of the poultry and all that, you want to make sure there's plenty of moisture in there when you're cooking it. But from a flavour point of view, only brine it if you're not happy with the taste of the meat to start with. Moving on. Hold on. Emma's our queen of cakes, who was on last week, who also does some pretty good savoury as well. She's got a food truck, and she's also in a cafe called Gloria and Lil's, and they've been doing a daily cook-along challenge, and she's done a really nice nazi grind today. So she's wanting to know, she loves liver, usually with onions and bacon and mash. What's the best sort, and is a flash fry the best or low and slow?
It's not something I'm not a massive fan of it. Tried it a couple of times, but just the exact same way with onions and bacon. I would always tend to go towards flash frying with it. Just low and slow with something like that, you're not really going to do it any favours. Lamb's livers definitely are most popular that we sell. We do have ox liver from our own cattle as well. But everybody's favourite is calf's liver, which is a nightmare to get a hold of. It's not. I don't think in my time in the shop we've ever had calf's liver in, just because of the size of it and the cost of it. A lot of that would be wasted because liver's not something that's at the top of everybody's list. But I would just always dust it in flour, a wee bit of seasoning, and then into the pan. Liver's always sliced really, really thin anyway, so it doesn't really need. To me, it doesn't need that long of cooking. And I've never seen anybody doing it low and slow and kind of like a casserole version style of it. If that's what you mean, Emma.
Are you familiar with the trick of soaking it in milk?
I have. I've heard that. Aye.
So again, I don't know whether this is an urban legend, but my granny and my mum always used to do this. If we were having liver, they would soak it in milk, and they said that took some of the bitterness out of it. So I don't remember liver being particularly bitter, but apparently that's how it was done in the old days. You can, from a liver point of view, if you want something different as well, you can kind of treat it like the Americans do the chicken fried steak, and it's a little bit of flour, a little bit of egg, and then back into the flour, seasoned flour, and also it almost creates like a light batter around the outside, which will seal all the moisture in and stop it drying out. So that's the only other liver idea. Or you can shred it up finely. When I say shred it, like nice ribbons of it, and cook it almost like a stroganoff. Introduce it the same way you'd introduce the fillet in a stroganoff recipe. So you just get it that last minute, but you've got all that mushrooms and brandy and cream, which is a wee bit different to bacon and mash. I know. I think Emma quite likes cream. I don't know if Mike's a big cream fan because he's one of those fit boys. We'll get a bit of a shout out from Sarah there.
Tagging everybody.
He's been doing very well, Sarah. For those of you who watch regularly and hopefully will be watching in the future, Sarah will be hopefully on one of the sit down episodes that we will be pre-recording. Sarah won, was it Butcher of the Year, Apprentice Butcher of the Year?
Yeah, Level 2 Modern Apprentice of the Year for 2019. That's a nationally recognised award. I'm not sure just how many Level 2 apprentices completed over the course of the year, but they tend to be pretty high in the numbers. So a big shout to Sarah for that. Sarah came in from a hospitality background. She'd never butchered in her life, and in the space of about a year and a half, she's really hit the ground running. A keen learner, always asking questions, which in any job is massive. But especially something like this, as a butcher, the more you know, the better. Because something like this, folk asking you questions, you've no control over what people ask you. So the more you know, the more you can learn in a short space of time is massive, and Sarah's proved that by what she done. I've never known of anybody to complete the Level 2 course in the short time frame that she did. So well done.
Yeah, so big round of applause. And I think you might have beat her to being the first on the show, but she'll get lunch cooked for us. So if you keep looking after her, she might bring you.
Wait a minute.
She might bring you in a doggy bag. Right, so we're looking for your. So Emma again, she's obviously quite impressed. She wants to know if you can post meat to the Midlands. I don't think a delivery service.
We can do it. Maybe when things quiet down with the COVID-19, because I know that a lot of the haulage companies and the transport companies are under a lot of pressure, and fresh meat's not something that you want to have in transit for any great length of time. But we can certainly do something.
Or we go down there a couple of times a year, so maybe we can store up an order and we'll take it down the next time we're going down. So Sarah's wanting to know what's your favourite Sunday roast?
Oh, I don't know. It's got to be roast beef. It's got to be a nice piece of aged sirloin. Can't beat that. Seal it in the pan, throw it in the oven. 20 minutes a pound, and an extra 20 minutes, nice and medium. Nothing, as I said earlier, nothing too fancy when it comes to things like I've got 3 young kids in the house. So usually when it's roast beef, we have that argument of they don't want it. So then I'll ask them if they want steak, and they'll ask for steak. So we try and keep it kind of simple when it comes to Sunday roast. But all the trimmings, homemade Yorkshire puddings, carrots,
the whole shooting match.
Yeah. You need to wear the elastic trousers for a roast in my house.
I think we're quite lamb orientated in our house. We like our lamb for our Sunday roast. Apart from my daughter, who apparently wants a doner kebab. So I think we got some lamb off you a couple of weeks back, which was kind of the full loin. So we had the rack of lamb, and we also had the bottom end that we boned out and rolled.
The
noisette. I was trying to keep away from the fancy chef terms. This is not a chef channel, Mr. McMillan. This is
it's just the whole loin without the bone. Then
the whole loin. No, we thoroughly enjoyed that. And again, we just browned it in the pan and then finished it off in the oven, and it was lovely.
Well, that same weekend, I done nobody eats lamb in my house other than me, and I done a rack of lamb, and yours sadly put mine in the shade. Yours looked incredible, but I wasn't going for fancy. I was just delighted that I was getting lamb for a dinner for a change.
Although I was running about the house showing everybody that text, going, the butcher said that my bone and my lamb wasn't shite. So no, that's I've actually got that printed out up on the wall now as some sort of certificate. No, it's I quite enjoyed doing it just to get a bit of practice, because when you're cooking, obviously in front of a camera, it's kind of like the wander about with the pen thing. It's nice to be able to actually go, look, this is what it looks like when you start off, and some of the stuff that we're going to try and do is, something a wee bit fancier, a wee bit special for date nights and that kind of thing. So being able to French trim a rack, it's always good to know how to French trim a rack before you try and tell other people how to French trim a rack. So
you done it perfectly.
Thank you very much. I don't have any photographs. I'll post them up. I think they're actually on the Pirate King site anyway.
I think I'm sure I've seen them on Facebook.
So just a little comment from Bob there. He's sort of saying that supermarket meat always seems too dry. Again, I think
it's always. Sorry, when you go.
I was going to say, I don't know what your opinion. I think it's because everybody's always wanting cheaper. The cuts of meat are getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and there's less intermuscular marbling in the supermarket meats because they're taking them off the bone so young, and there's no real depth of flavour. So I think if you go and you get a sirloin steak, to me, if you're going to cook a sirloin steak or a ribeye, it should be 3/4 to an inch thick. It's so you can apply that searing hot heat to the outside, because you want to be able to do that on both sides and all the way around the fat cap, and still have some nice juicy pink meat in the middle. Mm-hmm. But I think when you go, as you say, like the example you gave earlier, Kevin, was 6 sirloin steaks for a £5, but they're like that thin.
Aye.
You put that in your searing hot pan and it's done.
Aye, it's gone straight away. The thing with supermarkets is they're looking for a quick return on their spend. So the animal. We're getting a wee bit into the nitty gritty, and folk don't like it when you use these terms. But when the animal's killed, they basically want them as soon as they're cold enough to be worked on. They're boned out, they're cut, they're packaged, they're sent out to wherever it is that they go. They usually get sent up and down the country. And then, as you say, everything's cut far too thin. So they're bred to be lean, but then they're not even getting time to age on the bone. There's no fat covering anyway, so the reason that they don't age them is because when they start to age, they would need to then trim that. So that's money in the bin straight away. When you've not got that fat covering, you've got nothing to trim off there other than meat, which is it's what they're aiming to keep.
And you've got some loss in body weight when you start aging as well, because you start losing some of the moisture, and they're charging per pound.
Yeah, which again we lose as well. But we tried not to. We basically absorb some of that cost. Absorb when you're talking about drying. And it's the way our window works is a wee bit different to a lot of dry aging. A lot of them will use salt and salt blocks. You maybe see salt walls in some people's chills. And I just find that the return that they're getting, they're losing an awful lot to the moisture because it's drawn it out too quickly. I know some folk lose maybe 25 to 30% of the weight. The way our window works is just a constant flow of air. We've not got any salt in the window. And our average is about 11.5%. So we don't lose an incredible amount, but the supermarkets don't want to lose anything.
No, they want their full ROI on their They actually want their pound of flesh.
Aye.
Okay, so I think this is the gaffer telling you were right. Flash fry is the best.
That's my mum.
Was that your mum? Well, that is the gaffer. That's the big boss.
We'll not get into Francis's cooking. I put on 3 stone when I moved out.
I put on about 8 when I learned to cook for myself. Sylvia's Emma and Mike have been asking questions. This is Mike's mum, so she's Emma's inherited mum. So she's just she's proper old school. So she's going with the lamb's liver is certainly the best. Oh, and she's letting it when she's flash fried it. She's simmering it in onion gravy.
Ooh.
You give that a go. We'll get Sylvia's recipe for the cookbook.
You can do that when Sarah comes up.
Okay. I'm just looking through here. Stephen Strachan, hope you're well.
Hi, Stephen. Hope everything's going well over there.
Apparently, Callum Frew thinks that Sarah's a much better butcher than you.
To be fair, I've not butchered an awful lot in the last few months.
I'm not going to involve in that. Okay. Mike Connell again. Once heard there's a butcher's treat section on the cow, which isn't generally sold, but it's an incredible steak. He might be talking about the hanger steak.
He could be talking about a few. There's also a very, very. I think this is the one that he's talking about. Hanger steak is quite a large. It's basically 2 muscles with a long strip of sinew right through the middle of it. You're probably talking about maybe about 600, 700 grams in weight, which is pretty big. When he's asking about the small one here, you've also got popular term with butchers is the spider steak, which is it comes from the H bone or the hip bone. It's on the inside of the hip bone, and it's basically a really, really small muscle with a kind of central sinew, and off of that it basically got legs coming off it, and it's covered by a section of fat. Generally, a lot of butchers will just whip it off and cut it up, and it will go into sausage trim or something. But a few do take it home and flash fry it.
Nice.
Again, going back to the butter and the garlic and the rosemary, it just is fantastic. Just because of where it sits, it doesn't move. So it's totally tender. It's basically a wee unused muscle in the animal.
Cool, thanks for that. So somebody's asking how your pastry is.
Oh, James is Tunnock's head baker. He's the main man in Tunnock's when it comes to the cakes and stuff that go over to the shop on the main street. So we've run out of everything that he done for us. We've got a stand-in supplier while he's on his extended leave.
All right. Yeah, there'll be a world shortage of tea cakes soon, and that's when we'll see the proper savages coming out.
I can see my ribs again because there's no tea cakes.
better watch the, what do you call it? Sailor doesn't whip them out and get them on the shelf. Now on to DA about getting game. You and me with this conversation about getting game in.
Yeah, we can get a good supply of just about anything. Obviously seasonal, but there's not an awful lot that we can't get.
What the question?
Aye, just give me a message, DA, and see what it is you're looking for, and we can usually get things within a few days.
The only reason he's asking is because he has no game. That's why he's looking to buy some in. So one from Nebria. What advice would you give a young person thinking about entering the butchery trade?
Just ask lots of questions about what you're doing, why the butchers in the shop do certain things. If you're looking to get into a shop, and you're not already in somewhere, I would kind of try and look towards the kind of higher end shops, the traditional shops who are doing proper butchery. There's an awful lot of places they're butcher shops, but they're not doing an awful lot of butchery. And the last thing you want is somebody with massive enthusiasm for the industry, and they want to learn about butchery, and they go in and all they're doing is either making sausage on a mass level, a huge supply chain level, or they're basically cutting packets open and slicing from something that's already been butchered by somebody else somewhere else. But definitely in with an open mind into a good shop, a good business, and just ask loads of questions and just go for it. Use that enthusiasm, put that to what you're doing, and be creative. To a certain extent these days, butchers are expected to have a bit of the kind of chef mindset to them. And you're not just there to cut up meat, you're offering advice on how to cook things, different ways of cooking things, different cuts to use for different dishes, and there's lots to it. It's not just about cutting the meat up, so definitely an open mind is huge for it.
Just reinforcing something you've just said there, Kevin. I've been to a few butcher shops, and I'm obviously quite enthusiastic about cooking and my cuts of meat. And you go and ask some questions, or you ask them for particular cuts, and they look at you as if you're speaking alien to them, and it's obviously it's places that have they all look the part, they've got all the big sort of presentation, the refrigerated cabinets and all this sides of meat hanging up, but they're not actually doing anything with it. As you say, they're opening packs and backpacks in the back and traying it.
It's I was completely went out of my head what I was going to say there.
That's all right, I'll come back to you. Thanks for that, Neve. Sarah again, what's your top recommendations for a barbecue? So I don't know if that's to me or to you. You can go first.
Top recommendations as in what to barbecue, or barbecues there's no barbecue without burgers. A good quality burger, whether you're making it on your own or whether you're buying it from your butcher. If you're making it on your own, Sarah's made a few different burgers. She's very creative when it comes to flavours in burgers. Go daft when it comes to a burger. If you're not sure how something would taste together, fire it in a burger and give it a go. For the more seasoned barbecuers, you're definitely looking at a butter pork or maybe a rack of ribs with some of your own kind of spice mix on there, or even go all out and do a whole brisket.
I think,
if
think
you've got the time.
That's what I was going to say. All depends on your type of barbecue. If it's you come in from work and and it's something for the family, you certainly don't want to be going down the ribs, brisket, and pulled pork, because that ain't going to happen in half an hour. Although, if you tune into the very first episode of Pirate King TV, which will be getting released soon, we do show you how to get some of those flavours. If you've got the time, go for larger cooks of meat. Cook them slower. Don't mess about with the meat that much. But to Kevin's point about working with your flavours, you can slow roast with applewood or cherry or hickory, and it gives it a completely different flavour profile. The whole thing about slow roasting on barbecues is building up that, you'll hear it referred to as bark, which is that kind of crispy, crunchy outer part of the meat, which basically seals in all the juices and all your cooking brines, come back to Mike's point, so that when you actually come to eat the meat, it's pull apart tender and the bones come out of the ribs and all that. So they're very much the European style of barbecue, which is very much direct heat cooking, open fire. That's your kebabs, your burgers, your flavoured sausages and your hot dogs. And then when you go over to America, and even in some regions of India and Japan and Korea, it's a much slower cooking process. It's even in Jamaica, they'll go and they'll dig a pit, they'll set a fire in it, they'll burn that fire for 3 or 4 hours on top of big rocks until it's basically ash. They'll then wrap a whole pig or a whole lamb or a whole goat up in banana leaves and corn husks, throw that in, bury it, and then they'll light another fire on top of it. And then they'll party all night, and then at midnight they'll dig it up, and they've got this really succulent meat to sort of then have with their flatbreads and their different sorts of leaves and salads. So there's barbecue used to be a very one-dimensional term in the UK, but I think opening up the world to different cuisines, Korean barbecue and Thai barbecue and American barbecue and Jamaican, it's a lot more accessible now. So there's a lot more flavors and a lot more ways of cooking, which are now available to people. That as much as I love your passion for a burger, burgers have had their day, mate. You've got to move on. You've got to move with the times.
But the thing is, when you're doing something like that, something that takes longer, you can have 2 or 3 burgers while you're waiting. This
is true. Then by the time you're sitting there at midnight with a torch trying to dig up, remember where you've buried this pig. You're like, I can't eat another thing. I've stuffed my face full of burgers and hot dogs.
I think coming back to that burying something and digging it up at midnight, that's like the kebab in the way home for the pub over here, isn't it?
Aye. Try to remember which pocket you've stuffed it into. Right. This is actually a few more questions. What's your view on Wagyu Kobe beef? Obviously, it's quite expensive. Do you think it's actually worth it, or just overrated?
If people will pay for it, it's always going to be worth it to somebody. I think it's really expensive for what it is. It's not something I don't think we could sell an awful lot of it in the shop just because of the fat content of it. We still get a lot of folk that are kind of anti-fat. They don't want to have fat in their steak or around their steak or anything like that. So when it comes to the Wagyu and you've got all that marbling through the muscle, as much as you would have a portion of people who would be all over it, a majority of our customers wouldn't go for it. And then it comes to the price. We do buy some Wagyu for a customer, and they take the whole thing. It's a restaurant cut in Bodwell. We plug for them. And
funny little, just interrupt you. See where cut is in Bodwell?
Yes.
I used to live in that house.
Did you?
And it's a restaurant.
It's been, I don't know how it was a hotel, and then it was a restaurant, and then it was derelict for years.
It was between 12-year-old and 16, 17. I lived in there. No, when it was derelict, it was a proper house.
Aye. Well, it was when it lay derelict for years. My wife had big dreams of buying it, but it was and still is massively out of our price range, unfortunately.
And they bought Deliciano, and it's going to be cut fish now as well.
Yes, I was gutted when the whole COVID-19 thing came in, because we had a table booked for the Saturday night. We'd managed to rope somebody into babysitting the Three Banes, and we were going for it. But that was unfortunately out the window. So it's on the back burner for now. Hopefully it won't be too long before they can before everybody can get back to normal, and we can start going out and enjoying restaurants.
My daughter's sitting here plugging herself because she's a childcare professional. She works at Tannock Tots Nursery. So she's saying if you're needing a qualified babysitter, just let her know. She'll probably do you an exchange. She'll probably do you an exchange on the doner kebabs you've got in.
I'll send some up.
I think there's a couple of farms in the UK now doing Kobe beef.
There is.
I've tried a little bit when I was in Japan working, but it was kind of on nigiri, on the little rice block, so it was raw, and it was very thinly sliced. I think we just took a blowtorch over the top of it, but that's only my only experience with Kobe.
I've seen it in Harrods and their meat counter, and it can be anything up to £700 a kilo.
Aye,
and you think. You think, going back to what I was saying about some of the supermarkets and some of the butchers who are less bothered about the quality of what they're selling, and you can get 6 steaks for £5. There's really a no-brainer there when it comes to price for a majority of people. Whether it's for the folk who don't mind spending that wee bit more on their meat, whether it's any better or worse compared to a good butcher shop near their own steak. It's for me, it's probably more down to personal preference than anything else.
Hold on a second. There we go. So Stephen Strachan's just saying you'll get a catch up when everything goes back to normal. There's a thumbs up and a big knife. I'm assuming that's butcher related, and he's just coming after you with a blade.
Stephen's a butcher as well. He's over in Blantyre. I think what we should do, because the butcher shops, a majority of butcher shops have managed to stay open and still serving the communities. And I think when things go back to normal, I think we should get 2 weeks off, and the butchers can all just go and have a couple of weeks holiday and sit with their feet up, and I'll maybe get your daughter to watch my weans for the 2 weeks.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. I'm aware this was meant to go for like 30-45 minutes. We're nearly at an hour, so I'll try and get through some more of these questions. Angela's asking, do you guys have your own farmers? How are the cows fed?
Yes, we do. We deal directly with one farmer, James Forsyth, down in Lowsteads, which isn't in Scotland. He's just across the border in Alnwick, Northumberland. But the cattle are all grass fed through the summer. They feed on silage through the winter, and they get some rolled oats just to finish them off just before they come to me. Just to give them that covering of fat. They need that wee bit of covering of fat, which we've covered already. But the work that James does is, without James, we couldn't operate in the way that we do. It's a relationship that's completely built on trust. My wife's uncle, Danielle's uncle, Marshall, who you might know or have known in the past, he'd owned the shop for a long time. He passed away in 2013. He basically bumped into James by chance at one of the markets, and he started kind of buying cattle off him. Then that was in 1998, I think. And then came the whole foot and mouth and all the other kind of scares that have came after that. And Marshall would buy the odd cattle off him and some off other farms and stuff. And when the foot and mouth kicked in, it was basically a deal direct with a farmer, or take your chances with anybody else that was going to markets or go to box beef and do away with your beliefs. So thankfully, Marshall and James struck up a bit of a working relationship, and it's something now 22 years later that we've carried on. And as I say, we've got a great working relationship with James and his family, but we've also got a kind of personal friendship that's built up over the years as well, which for me is the foundations for how you work. Things are a lot easier when you get on with the people that you work with and you do business. And it makes everything seamless, absolutely seamless. I speak to James every week, sometimes twice a week. And things like when we done the shop up and we introduced the dry aging window, I was really keen to get that covering of fat just that wee bit more. Again, going back to something that we've covered already, when it becomes dry aged, then you're going to lose some of that the outer covering that's open to the elements and that's basically taking the beating of being dry aged. And we worked with James over the course of maybe 3 or 4 months just to build up that extra fat on the animals, so that when we are trimming them down, we're trimming that fat away, but we're still leaving some of the fat on, just to kind of disperse into your cooking. So, aye.
No, that's fantastic. It's great. It's great to hear about that relationship. So, just one thing. There's a couple that I know in Florida, JD and Rocky. I used to go across to America when I was young and nose broken, for Daytona Bike Week, and became good friends with Rocky and JD. They used to have a bar just in half an hour from actual Daytona Beach, and as part of that restaurant, part of that bar, they serve some fantastic barbecue. Salt and pepper chicken wings are still to this day the best. Every time I make them, I try and emulate it, and I'm still 20 years later still can't get it. And then they used to invite us back to their home as well, and they do like a big barbecue. So some of the stuff that JD and Rocky used to do was absolutely fantastic. I think probably JD done all the work in the kitchen, and Rocky took the usual sort of man position at the grill, sort of meat managing. But again, 25 years on for that, I can still taste it just thinking about it. So that
sounds like a field trip in the making there.
Well, the offer's been is a standing offer any year we want to go back. So you get yourself a Harley, and we'll head over to JD and Rocky's for a bit of barbecue.
I'm not allowed to, because I'm bad enough with 4.
Okie dokie. Well, we are. Well, I know. When I spoke to you about this, I goes, I could probably run about half an hour. We're now sitting running about the hour mark, but it's been absolutely fascinating, and I think we've answered a lot of great questions, a lot of great input for the people that have tuned in. This will be up on Facebook and YouTube to rewatch. So if you think this will be of interest to anybody out there, point them in the usual links at the end of the show. We run the titles. All the social links are up there. So like, follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It's been great. Just want to, before we go, just say thanks a lot to Kevin for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.
Given the response, I'm afraid you're going to probably have to come back again, mate.
That's fine. I've loved it. It's been great.
I think we've answered most of the questions, but I'm sure when word gets out, then there'll probably be a lot more people with a lot more questions. So thanks again. I will run the titles. Thanks for joining us. For those who do the cook along on a Saturday, this week's going to be slightly different. I'm going to put a list up either tonight or tomorrow, and it's just going to be some store cupboard stuff, because we're going to try and do fridge tapas. I know we've all been stuck in the house. You'll have lots of little bits and bobs in your fridge which are leftovers from meals, things you don't know what to do with. So we're going to try and do maybe 5 or 6 or 7, how many we can get in the time, of stuff that there's not enough there to do a meal for your whole family, but there's enough to maybe do 4 or 5 dishes and you can eat it kind of tapas style. So that should be interesting and challenging on Saturday. So would love to see you there. Again, it's all on Pirate King TV. So we will say goodbye to Kevin for the time being.
Thank you. See you later.
And we will run the credits. Thank you very much for being here. And we hope to see you again next Wednesday and on Saturday.